Get your day started right. From our shack to yours, this is Coffee and Ham Radios. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
It's like the most fun part. I don't even know what you're doing, Chuck.
I was trying to find out where my camera's at. I think it's right here. Yeah, right there. Okay. I'm good.
What do y'all call 911? I think he's having a stroke again.
It's like an everyday thing with this guy.
Chuck, we love Chuck. Chuck cannot type on a phone. And every time Chuck is typing on his phone, I'm concerned for his health. Because it's like, Route 4. What?
I was going down the freeway in my 32-footer, talking to the truckers and trying to talk on my phone, talk into the phone. So
were you driving while you were doing that?
Yeah, it was stationary. I was text messaging you.
It's too bad you didn't have anybody with you that could have done that.
Well, she finally took it over.
She probably feared for her life, dude.
This guy right here wants to be noticed, and I sent him a private message like a month ago and haven't gotten a response back from him. So I'm not going to give him any recognition whatsoever. Goodbye.
Who is that? I never heard of that guy.
Take him off the screen. Take him off the screen.
He's out. He's out. So, how's everybody this morning?
Fantastic.
Good.
Steve, have you seen the dirt in Wisconsin yet, or is it still covered in snow?
Well, so we saw dirt a little bit, and then we got 12 hours of rain. And everything that was snow had started to melt before and then ran across all the dirt and is now ice. And all the piled up snow has this crispy, crunchy, crackly layer on top of it. And it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm missing Florida.
Lord Callum's here.
Morning, Callum.
Callum.
And now he says sadness intensifies. Now you know how I feel, okay?
And apparently they're missing Ape. I mean, it's not, what are we, chopped liver? Y'all come for
right.
Ape? I mean, Charles has a radio voice. I have, striking good looks. And Steve is reasonably bright.
And Chuck got himself dressed up for today's show, too. I mean, look at that. He's not even wearing a hat today.
He's probably got pants on,
well,
even.
The camera angle looks like the cat's sticking way off my head, so...
And Walter is in Poland this morning, so we have quite a European contingent phoning in, because Callum here and Walt's in Poland.
Of course you were chopped liver, Jim. And RD! There's my fan club. Thank you.
Right.
Oh, where I can't see the chat. I got to open that
Chuck,
up.
what's going on with you?
Well, I am in the high desert of California today.
Awesome.
Pretty cold here. It's
not so awesome.
Well, my wife... last time I was here, I got to see the new grandbabies, and my wife's been in like convulsions, or whatever you want to call it. So she's been in need of seeing the babies. So we came down this weekend to spend the weekend with the kids, all the kids, both generations, and have a good time.
Callum, that's not actually a voice emulator. Chuck is not really here. That's Chat GPT running through a sound
Chuck's
box.
AI is a little laggy,
right?
But not bad.
We spent more money we spent more money on the Ape AI than we have on the Chuck AI so far.
I have to say that I took Callum's lead on my microphone at home, so I did get the one below his. I couldn't afford his, but Callum always sounded good, so that's the way I went.
That's right, Theodore. Chuck GPT.
Chuck GPT, awesome.
I should be good now. I'm on Wi-Fi, so.
So we have an announcement
Exterminate.
to make. And let me make that
I think Jim has an announcement to make. There we go.
We don't all lose our breakfast.
I think he was on a cartoon there.
This early in the morning. That's the lab, man. So,
Lab of Doom
just to
and
share
Dr.
with
Pepper.
all my friends, this is the Coffee and Ham Radio's 30-ounce insulated tumbler. These have a resealable lid with, as you can see, a pretty stout.
It works better this time.
Oh yeah, this is actually a different one. I mailed out the one we demoed the other day. It went to a customer.
It was actually a Jim problem, folks, not a tumbler problem.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Right
Andy?
here, we can see that it also comes with a sticker, an Arctic sticker. And this will hold 30 ounces of your favorite beverage, hot or cold, and keep it that way. This is typically what my coffee is in every day.
Yeah, I noticed on Twitter the other day somebody mentioned that if you get your coffee strong enough, it'll actually stain the stainless steel just a little bit. Then you know you've got it strong enough.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah,
if
it's
you
your
wash
emergency pot.
tumbler. If you wash
Yeah.
your tumbler
So-
every so often, you don't have that problem.
I know we don't
Okay,
like to do
whatever.
math on stream, but that's a 30-ounce tumbler, which is 5 cups of coffee, which is half a pot.
Depending on how you calculate your coffee, yeah.
Cups or mugs.
Jim does not count those little tiny cups. This is 1 cup of coffee. This is a cup of coffee.
It's like just a little over. It holds just a little over 2 mug-sized coffees.
Right. So these hand-packed and hermetically sealed envelopes by Mrs. Ape are our current sticker pack that we are offering. And we can see here we have a Coffee and Ham Radios, temporarily offline, KK6USY, that guy we're not talking about today because he's not here, FEP Labs Radio, and the Smoking Ape. Well, we'll put a sticker in there.
And it's the Smoking Ape, not the.
I'm sorry, not a Smoking Ape, the Smoking Ape. That's right, with the article.
Well, so that's the difference between being a shit and being the shit.
Right. Right. So these, I didn't mention price. This is $25 for the tumblers plus shipping. The sticker packs are free shipping. They are $15.
So our friend No Code Tech has a very important message to share. He says that's like 2 whole white claws you could fit in there. And so that's important to note, is that it keeps hot stuff hot, or not or it keeps cold stuff cold.
Cold stuff.
That's right.
And just want to say, there ain't no laws when you're drinking claws. Just saying.
That's right.
So we have these available, and for a limited time only, a special offer. I have not cleared this with the Smoking Ape or senior management of Coffee
here
and
we
Ham
go.
Radio. For
Hey,
a
was
limited time only, if you order a tumbler and a sticker pack, we'll give you the sticker pack for $15 inserted in the tumbler in one package. Free
So
shipping.
no shipping.
No shipping on the
No
sticker
shipping.
part.
I guess the same thing, though. I don't know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
It is, Chuck. You're very
I think
good.
he's
That's
pulling
excellent.
a fast one. You're trying to make us
was.
math on stream.
That's right.
So where
And-
would we get these fine products?
Well, if you'll notice the Chiron across the bottom, I think that's the official
fancy
podcast
words.
word. Yeah, right. Anthony will correct me if I was wrong.
It looks like
correct you either way.
www.
Walt, I know what you're looking at in Poland, man, and that'll make your hair fall out, Walt. If you look at the crawler, the Chiron across the bottom, it will tell you www.coffeeandhamradios.com where these are. I don't know what that is in milliliters. Alexa, convert 30 ounces to milliliters. 887 milliliters for
887.
So it's like almost a liter. That's impressive sounding. More
She can
impressive
math on air.
than 30 ounces, right? But wait,
She-
there's more.
There's more.
There's more. We also, and I don't have samples because my shipping department in California hasn't sent me any.
Oh,
We also
you've been
still
corrected,
have
Jim.
available the Apollo end-fed half-wave antennas. And we have a number of them in stock. And
Yes.
we're currently out of stock on the Mercury link dipoles, but they will be coming back in at some time, right, Chuck?
Yeah, probably by Wednesday or Thursday, I can have at least 10 made, 10 or
Okay.
15 kits.
Okay.
I've got the wires already ready to go. I just don't have the actual kits that go with the wire. So I've got wire winder and the Velcro strap all ready to go. Because we changed that. We decided just to do a set amount of wire for everything. It just makes it easier for me. And I end up without having all these 20-foot pieces of wire laying around.
Right. No, less waste. You guys get more wire.
Although I did use the extra wire to build my hex beam. You guys wouldn't let me sell it in pieces. So
Is this the Chucky Hex?
the Chucky hex, which I think we're going to have on the show here pretty soon.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
Teal
snap.
asked me to. I was supposed to do a little bit with Hayden, but he blew me. I mean, he had something come up and we couldn't do our stream. So I already have the pictures, and Hayden lost out. Now that's all I got to say. That's right.
So
You only
Jason
got half
wanted
of
to
that.
correct you real quick because we are hams and we are pedantic and that's the way we do things. The The thing across the bottom is called a ticker. The Chiron.
Ticker.
The Chiron is the logo right over here next to me. Is what he's saying.
I tried. Thank you for correcting me, though, because I don't want to go through life being ignorant every day. That's excellent. I read that word somewhere. I thought that meant the dingus on the bottom. See, that's why I say dingus, because everybody knows what you mean when you say dingus, right?
Bingo.
So I messed up.
The dingus next to me. I mean, y'all knew that I was talking about Sparky over there. So
yeah. I messed up on the Apollo to Mercury count. I was a little light on the Mercuries when I built them. So I'll get some ready. We'll have some by this week.
Well, I mean, and
the hard part's the wire.
We don't take back orders. I don't have the back order function set up because I don't.
No, I don't want to do that.
We just don't want to do that. If we have some available, then they'll be on the website. There's none in the back. There's not a secret storage room at Chuck's house where the antennas live.
It's just in time delivery.
Right.
It really is.
Right. But we do have the Apollos in stock, and personally, I can tell you that it works pretty darn good when you build the toroid, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does. I also know that we have some deployed overseas because I believe Walt K40GO has used some in his European adventures. I believe he used it overseas. And then we've sold a few. We have actually, and anybody who's not in the continental United States, and I'm including Alaska and Hawaii in that term, anybody who's not in the U.S., we can ship overseas. Just email us at coffeeandhamradios@gmail.com. We just handle overseas non-U.S. orders as one-offs.
Y'all get special treatment.
Well, as shipping to Europe, for example, is typically about $35, I think. And Canada is not much cheaper, which you just figure two guys in a pickup truck could drive up there and throw the mail bag over the fence. But
at $35 for shipping, that puts us about half the price of some of the other brands out there. I won't mention the C word.
Right.
You guys can figure that out.
See you in Toledo.
Yeah, see you in Toledo.
But anyway, we do ship overseas. So anybody that is interested in one, we have shipped. I know I've shipped some to, what are we, Chuck? Germany, Canada?
I think we went Germany, Canada. Was it, I don't know, maybe, was it Russia one time? I forget. Mexico?
Yeah.
Did we send one to Mexico, I think?
I think so. We've sent several out non-U.S. It's not set up on the website.
And we probably don't send as many because it doesn't show up on the website. We have to let you guys know that we can do that. It just, unfortunately,
that's actually a very good point, Chuck. I need to put that on the website. We will ship overseas, but we do it on a one-off. Just email us.
It works way better now that Jim just sends me the tag, so I just have to drop it off. Before I had to talk to the gal, which is not a bad thing. I mean, she's a nice gal, but a lot of times I'm just dropping off. I come in there with hand load, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Yep, just drop them off."
Yeah, I actually
dropping them everywhere.
I actually hit the post office up this morning with 3 tumblers and 4 sticker packs going out.
Wow!
So
somebody got up.
If you ordered a tumbler or a sticker pack, it's in the mail this morning.
Yeah, we put a huge dent in. I made over 100 kits and pretty much sold most of those from Josh's last show that he did with it, and that was kind of a us and Adam at the same time type deal. It wasn't just our antenna. So,
well, Theodore, I have not checked the impedance of this cup, but I suspect it could be. You could probably load it to 50 with a little bit of. A false bottom out of plastic with a little bit of resistors on the bottom, and you ought to be able to do something.
I might have to do something with that. Just saying.
Will it antenna? Well, I was pointing to the wrong cup, but will it antenna? Right? This is a demonstrator cup, so if you get this cup, it won't have any spit or anything on it. Nothing like that. So
what are we talking about today, anyhow?
Tumblers, stickers, making fun of people in the chat.
Yeah, NRD, these tumblers, well, you're not cleared to have one of those. So,
what does it say on it?
It doesn't say nothing. You can't see it.
Right.
NRD was asking about this.
JP.
My wife My wife got this for me. I
She
have a red
loves
one
you.
that's a little
I
different.
don't know what you did, but that woman loves you.
If you'd known what I did, you'd be amazed she still loves me. And
Not bad.
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Hey,
And
Scott.
then that has my call sign. Julie and I have honestly run out of things to get each other for Christmas and birthdays and stuff. When she was working, she's retired now, I bought her jewelry. I've been buying her jewelry since before we were married, right? Christmas, birthday, whatever, buy her jewelry. And not junk, good stuff. And now that she's retired, she's like, don't buy me more jewelry. I don't even dress up. Most days it's sweatpants and a top.
Oh, that's so hot. Tell me more.
Like,
So
okay.
I will pass along a piece of sage marriage advice that I got from a couple that was married for 50 years. They're still
don't buy
married
your wife
if they're still
shoes,
alive,
clothes,
as
or
far as I
perfume.
know. True. And same in reverse too. But what she did was on her husband's birthday, she took him to some place that she wanted to go eat dinner. And on her birthday, her husband took her to some place that he wanted to eat dinner. So they just kind of crossed. So it's like it's an even exchange, but they both got to go out and have dinner.
Cross paths.
Yeah, and we do that. We do that. But that's it. I mean, we trade dinner 3 times a year, right? 2
Right.
birthdays and an anniversary, and that's
Well, that's more than you have
about
sex,
it.
so you got that going for you.
Right.
You guys ever seen Hunt for Red October?
Only
Yes.
about 1,000 times. I know
Jim
the
quotes it.
Russian parts.
Jim quotes it 5 times a day. What are you talking about?
I think when Sean Connery lost his hair, he looks a little bit like me. I'm just saying.
He looks like you.
Yeah.
And he was the sexiest man alive for a couple of years.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I think it was like Time Magazine or Life Magazine. I'm not saying that. People Magazine. I don't know.
Oh hell, I'll say it. I'm safe enough in my sexuality. He was for a dude. Yep, he's hot. I mean, not my cup of tea, but
Whatever.
Bush-stepping morons like yourself.
On your shelf. Yes.
Brian, most
Hunt
things
for
in
the
there
Red
don't
October.
react well to bullets.
I'll take the rapist for 1,000, Alex. That's therapist, Sean. Therapist.
Your mother, Trebek.
Right?
Okay, so
Ooh,
what
it's
we
warm in
want?
here.
Good lord. Yeah,
I get Chuck all hot and bothered. Throw in my Scottish accent, and there he goes.
One ping only.
You should
God,
see
stop
if,
it, you guys, with the Hunt for Red October. Now, woo,
since
train of thought.
our resident expert, the ape, expert on everything.
Just
Maybe
ask him.
somebody in the chat today actually knows more about solar flares than moi. I know they're there.
Thank you, Garth.
Thank you. Yes, dude, there's always squirrels on this channel. This is the squirrel channel. And
The less we know about the topic, the more squirrels there are.
Right, and then we
This is Sparta!
there you go.
So solar flares, we got to have them, right?
well, we don't
Whoa.
gotta have them, but they
We
happen.
don't have. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Well,
we can't make them stop.
Didn't you bring up the Wikipedia on that thing? Read to us so we can not understand what you're going to say.
So you cannot understand what I'm going to say. I don't understand what I'm going to say.
Break it down for us in a way that makes less sense than it did to begin with. Yeah.
Barney
I
style.
read it this morning. It's like, ooh, wow,
So-
that's some propeller stuff there.
Yeah. There are a lot of variables with solar weather, which is generally what this is called. There are a lot of variables that don't matter to us as amateur radio enthusiasts. But there's a lot of variables. There are some variables that do matter to us. This stuff, like Kastler said one time, everything affects everything. There's a lot of interaction with the stuff that happens on the sun. Some of the things that happen on the sun are get here very quickly because they are traveling at almost at the speed of light, essentially. And the sun is 93 million miles. I don't know what that is in clicks, but it's about an 8.5 light minutes from Earth. So anything that's speed of light is going to get here in 8.5 minutes. Some of the other products that come out of a solar flare or coronal mass ejection are not traveling nearly that fast. They're only going in the 2,000 to 4,000 kilometers per second speed, which gets them here in 4 to 6 hours, kind of generally. And it depends on a whole lot of things. And one of the biggest things for any of these events out of the sun is that, of course, the sun is rotating. We're rotating around the sun in orbit, and then our planet itself is rotating. So for a solar flare to hit us or something like that, there's orbital mechanics involved. We are not talking about that at all.
We're not rocket
so it
scientists.
just kind of, yeah, no, I don't even know any. But what you'll see is that there's almost always solar flares of some sort going on, and they range in size tremendously. And a lot of them never affect us because of the orbiting stuff. It never gets here. It goes somewhere else. Now, keep it in mind, when the sun throws something out, it's basically coming out on what looks like a ballistic arc. It is a ballistic arc. So we have to be in the right place at the right time. Scientists that are way, way smarter than me, that actually went to college and got a degree, do a lot of serious
girls.
math. Yeah, right. All I did was chase girls. Yeah, 45, you're right. 300, no, I don't think so. 300,000 kilometers? It may be. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Alexa, convert 93 million miles to kilometers.
93 million miles is about 149.7 million kilometers.
That's round trip, 45. 149.7 million clicks one way. So that's the round trip time. So
oh, Dennis is up.
Dennis is
Good morning,
up.
Dennis.
Dennis, good morning. So anyway, there's a lot of things that happen on a fairly regular basis, but they don't affect us because of the orbital mechanics of what's going on. Now, I don't want to read this article because, holy moly, a lot of the flares and stuff that come out are dependent on a solar cycle, which we all have heard about as hams. That's an 11-year cycle. And the frequency of solar flares varies from several per day during solar maximum to less than one a week during solar minimums. And there are more powerful flares. More powerful flares are generally less frequent than the weaker ones. So an X10, which is a severe solar flare, about 8 times per cycle, whereas an M1 class, a minor flare, on average about 2,000 times per cycle. So that has an effect on how we're impacted here. An M1 solar flare, we probably wouldn't even notice. There would be almost no impact on Earth at all, whereas an X10 flare, there would be a lot of problems here on Earth. Yes, we would love to get Dr. Skav on, and I plan to reach out to her, but we decided to do this because there is a solar flare either hit us now or is about to hit us. It's getting here as we speak, and that's why we kind of decided to do this show right now.
Well, didn't she have to rethink it after she heard about your college days?
Yeah, she said, "Oh, my college was wasted. I should have gone to college with Jim."
Yeah.
So, and again, there's a solar flare can have a duration, time, so on and so forth. And when all these things happen, the sun is a nuclear fusion reactor. So through fusion, it's converting helium into hydrogen. And in the process of that, because it's nuclear fusion, it's throwing off gamma radiation, X-ray radiation, and a whole bunch of other products, other elements, and so on and so forth. And that's the contents, that's the things that affect Earth when they hit us, because those things are in the electromagnetic spectrum. They interact with the atmosphere, and this is the things that give you, and I'm going to change slides here in a second, but this is what gives you tropospheric ducting. This is what gives us the ability to talk around the curve of the Earth, with HF bands.
The what?
Because, do what?
To talk around the what of the Earth? The what?
Oh, yeah, the curve of the Earth. The curve of the Earth.
I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop it. He's not here. He's not here.
Are you trying to
told me
share these
that's not
slides
true.
out, by the way?
Am I not?
You're not.
No.
Oh, well, Jesus. Well, I mean, I was just
There we
looking at, I was going through Wikipedia and was talking points for me anyway. Okay.
Awesome.
So, what was
Lost
it?
it.
Oh,
Something about the
so
curve
anyway,
of the Earth.
the solar
Curve of the Earth.
flares and CME and all the solar activity, the solar weather, affects radio conditions here on Earth constantly. So you know that some bands are more open at night versus during the daytime. That's because, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, the E and the F layers characteristics change when they're not in sunlight because the ionization is not occurring as much as it does during daylight. So what's good for us on in daytime here is not necessarily as good for somebody who's on the dark side at that same time. So that affects where we can go. That also gives us, through a whole bunch of math, the MUF, the maximum usable frequency. And I have a slide here.
He said that with a straight face.
A slide and the MUF. I'm talking about the MUF. And this is an APE approved MUF. And let me
'Cause it's
solo
flat.
this and see if I can embiggen that picture any.
And it makes Australia the proper size.
All it's doing is making the darn letters bigger. So this is this. I look at this chart almost every day when I'm doing radio, and what you'll see is depending on the band, right? As the gray line moves, when the gray line was back over here, 10 meters on the eastern U.S. coast was not available. 28 megahertz. These numbers are in megahertz. So as this gray line moves, you'll see the maximum usable frequency, again, in megahertz, not the bands, in megahertz available. And this data is collected from a whole bunch of balloons, some of which may or may not still be in the air today. And then collated together, and then based on a whole bunch of scientific calculations, they come up with this map. This particular map is updated about every 30 minutes or so, I think.
Wow.
Based on data that's several hours old, but it is updated frequently during the day. So this will tell you just with a quick glance, hey, I want to work 10 meters because I just made or bought a brand new 10 meter antenna and I got it on a tower and 10 meters is hot, everybody tells me. And then you look at this, and if you're out where Charles is at, 10 meters not so good right now yet. I think
Because
that's
I haven't woke up
California.
yet.
That's Mexico down there, right? So, yeah, up here on the U.S. West Coast right now, 10 meters is not awake yet. But if you look over here, anywhere from pretty much Nebraska east,
But we
10
closed the
meters.
band.
10
We
meters
closed it.
is open. Right, and Chuck will close out 10 meters. Chuck will still be yakking on 10 meters to Japan and Asia and Eastern Europe, while my 10 meters is shut down tight. So all of these things affect all of these things in some way, and there's a lot of data points on it. Now, I want to take a break.
Please.
Steve, what you got?
I got nothing. I don't really understand this stuff. I have an entirely different part of the hobby, and one day this will excite me, and I will go down the rabbit hole of this because that's the way ham radio is. You know, you just kind of touch against it today, and hear a little bit about it, and it plants a seed for tomorrow when you want to go down that rabbit hole instead of this rabbit hole. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, there's if you, and I've got some websites we're going to look at here in a minute, but I cannot emphasize this enough. There are probably 20 or 30 indices or factors to how conditions are going to be affected here. There's solar flares, there's coronal mass ejections, CMEs, there's geomagnetic storms. All of those things affect a lot of things here. And there's all sorts of different indexes. And I suppose if you spend the time and learn what all those indice names are, you can look at that and look at a number and go, oh, the yada yada index is 142 today. That's awesome for HF. For me personally, that information is all great, but it's really data overload for me. As Joe Ham, I don't know if he's in the chat. Anthony, I'm gonna steal it.
Joe Ham.
Everyday Joe Ham right here, right? I don't really want to look at all the data points. Generally, I'm not a solar weather guy. I'm not the solar weather woman. That's Dr. Tamitha Skov, who again is, way smarter than us. We can barely add 2 numbers on string without screwing the pooch.
It's basically the numbers.
What I look at,
Right.
Is this. This is what I care about with solar weather, right? If I'm going to FT8 or I'm going to do phone, whatever, I'm going to pull this chart up, take a look at it, and figure out what bands are going to be usable for me right now. And this isn't specifically carved in stone, but it's like those weather. I'm definitely not Dr. Skov, nor have I ever been Dr. Skov.
He's
but
never
that's going to let you know
guys.
what's going on.
At least that we've seen. I said you've never pretended to be her either.
No, nor have I ever.
When you did your cross dressing, it was somebody totally different. You were like, I forget who you were trying to be.
He won that competition, by the way.
He did.
I got the gams for it, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw his jams in Huntsville. Totally on point.
So this is an 11-year process, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you
11
did
years
you mention that
cycle.
part? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So we are now, since they started counting solar cycles, it's been going on longer than that, but it is an 11-year cycle.
We're moving up to the better part of it right now, right?
Yes.
We're not quite there, I don't think.
Yeah, we're heading towards even better greatness than we currently are experiencing.
Right.
And 10 has been after that, pretty good.
We'll pass peak greatness and then be on the decline again.
As a matter of fact, I think one of my next builds is going to be like a 4-element 10-meter antenna because it's fairly small. Yagi. Excuse me.
And one thing to show you, apparently, where we are in the solar cycle is 10 meters. Mm-hmm. I got my ham license 3.5 years ago, and there was no 10 meters. There was nothing on 10 meters except static.
It was good when I got mine, and it was just 11 had already kind of gone away. 10 was good because better equipment, I guess, probably most likely, and then it was just non-existent.
Right.
For a while, for me. And I think different areas are different. I know my buddy, he gets on 6 meters every day, but he has people around him that are on it. So that's 6 meters is there every day, guys. You just got to use it.
You got to find the 3 other people that have it that want to talk on it.
Well, yeah, you're not going to get across the.
It's like trying to do FT8 on 2 meters. It just, you got to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I tried for a solid 24 hours. I'm not in the right place.
Right.
I bet you I can. I should try that.
Well, Chuck, where
I bet you could too.
Yeah, you probably can FT8 on 2 meters.
There's people.
I just don't
since they can't do anything else legally, FT8 is all there is.
Right.
We can split lanes. Nobody else in the world can do that. Well, not the United States can do that.
Legally.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Legally.
So this is where this gets a little overcomplicated, I think, at times.
Well, you can actually see this. Look at it. You're doing a good job today.
Thank you. Except now I lost where I was, my chart that I wanted to show.
Yeah, where'd you go?
There we go.
Right there. R1, M1.
So this is the classification of the radio blackout level is this R1 through R5. And then this is an associated solar flare level with that is what they're using for how it's going to affect radio. So as I said, an M1 flare, minor radio interference, minor radio blackout, won't affect HF at all. M5 level gets to be more moderate radio blackout, and so on and so forth until you get up to X20, which is pretty much we're all getting suntans and going to pee green that day.
Extreme radio blackout.
Extreme radio blackout. And at HF frequencies, what that means for us is that because of the level of ionization, the charged particles in the atmosphere, because of the increased solar activity, that's going to affect where you have your signal now bouncing off the troposphere, or ionosphere rather. Is that right? Ionosphere, yes. Ionosphere, and coming back down 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 kilometers away. It's not going to, because that charge has changed in the troposphere, in the ionosphere, damn it, in the ionosphere. And now the ionosphere is either absorbing that RF at those wavelengths or it's going straight on through out into space, which is what happens with VHF and UHF. That's why those are line of sight only. That's why you can't build a UHF radio that's really going to talk around the world like HF, because those HF frequencies just go straight off into space. They don't bounce off the ionosphere and come back down anywhere. So as solar activity increases, it can help us, but it can also cause problems. We want some solar activity because that gives us the ionization in the E and F layers that allow us to do HF. So, let's see. And there's the Wikipedia article. There's a lot of information on here, and there's some excellent videos to look at, and I'm gonna spare you all that. There's not a real good way to predict this stuff. We can tell when one's happened 8.5 minutes after it happens.
That's how long it takes to get here.
That's how long the light from the event takes to get here. When a CME occurs, that material has to get out of the gravity well of the sun and leave the orbit of the sun and get here. Not all of them do, but it takes 8.5 minutes to get to eyeball. If our sun blew up now, you wouldn't know for 8.5 minutes. So that's that. Let me switch back to that. Let's undo that. And remove him, and then I'll have some other websites that I want to share. So if you really want to get into this, and I'm kind of interested in it, but again, I just kind of boil it down to, let me look at the muff, right? And then I go from there.
I just turned the radio on.
Right? I'm a simple creature, can I say?
Well, so I mean that's the trick. You turn the radio on and you start on the highest frequency that you're possibly interested in working or able to work, and then work your way down. So that's we call that chasing muff. So I started 6 meters and then go to 10 and then go to 12 and then go to 15 and then go to 17. And the easy way to do it is to have your radio set to the FT8 frequencies. If you tune to 6 meters and it's silent, 6 meters is closed. You know.
Yep.
Right.
Yes, actually, Steve, that's an outstanding. I never even thought of that, but Jesus, it's genius. This guy.
I knock one out of the park every so often.
Smarter than he looks. Yeah, he's exactly right. Pop over to the FT8 frequencies on any of those bands, and if you can hear FT8 going on,
that is a good way.
Yeah, that's an outstanding tip. Again,
6 meters.
I look at the muff and move on. So
it's 6 meters. The weird one. It's above.
It's not technically HF.
It's 313 though. When you go for the FT8 stuff, it's kind of like in a weird place compared to everything else. Everything else is like in the CW area, right?
Right.
But this is up in the higher parts of 50 megahertz.
I have made a couple of 6 meter FT8 contacts during the FT8 off days. Never very consistently, but I have made a couple. I haven't tried 6 meter FT8 in a long time.
So the reason I know 6 meters there, I did, when I first got my license, my buddy and I did a field day. And the first antenna we put up was my little hex beam for 6 meter. And we didn't get set up because we had so many contacts on 6. I mean, they weren't long distance or anything like that. Not like when there's an opening. Like an opening, I've got back into Tennessee with my home setup. But we were all over Northern California. So I know it's there. And then every Wednesday night, there's a net from Fresno, and I can get into those guys. So it's there. It's just people only get on when it opens. And then it's hard. It's crazy then. You can talk. 5 watts can get you a long ways.
Right.
50 watts really good. That's what it did.
Cape Cod. Right. You guys are pigs. I was talking about the maximum usable frequency.
That's right.
Dirty birds. Steve, you just feel free to jump in here and contribute some because I'm tired of talking, man. Come on.
So Dennis is asking what flavors of wine that is in your wine rack. Chuck.
Oh, it's not my wine
Thank you,
rack.
Dennis. Thank you, Dennis.
I'm not really sure. Do you guys know what wine you have up here? Anything that you can mention? Sausalito, something. Pedroncelli. Middle
I know
Ranch.
nothing about wine. Those are just
Yeah,
names.
these are all from like the Napa, Sonoma area.
It's made out of grapes. That covers my
And
knowledge.
San Luis Obispo area.
NRD is correct.
I don't know if they drink those up there.
They're just for show.
But,
Or are
they're
they
for
empty
show, I
bottles?
think.
We drank those.
They could be empty. I don't know. We had some wine in there tonight, I think. I was trying to get my granddaughter to come over. She's a little shy. Want to say hi to the guys?
This is what your life will be like. Infinite Zoom conferences forever and ever and ever. It tastes like grapes and
Oh,
feet,
yeah.
right, Dennis?
I had a friend that made wine.
Grapes
He
and
actually
feet.
did really well. They give gold medals for pretty easy, I think, sometimes. His wine was good, but look at that.
So another way that you can check band conditions. Woo, that thing is.
You guys zoom too far, or not so far enough.
There's 2 United States on that map.
Yes, there's north and east, or south and west, east and west. There you go. Look at that.
There we go.
So many Earths.
So this is propagation for center received by my call sign in the last 12 hours.
That's a very strange pink blob.
I know. I don't understand. I cover the world, man. I don't understand the pink blob on that one.
He's got that low angle using the
Probably
DX
multiple
commander.
bands. It's probably because there's multiple bands on screen.
Yeah, very possible. Let me see. Can you filter this by?
You can.
By band.
There we go.
Even I know that.
So
'Cause
let
you
me
were on
go to
20?
10 meters.
And you were on 30?
No 10.
Yeah, I was on 10 and 20 and then 30 a
Okay.
little bit. So
My-
there's
my
my
screen
10
is
meter
small.
propagation.
My screen is small like ape, so I can barely see this, but that's my fault. Don't change anything.
Okay, not changing. I still have a weird pink blob, mostly North Africa to Europe.
Well, that
up through
pink
most
blob
of
makes
Europe.
sense. From Alabama, you're shooting out your signal and
Right.
hitting most of Europe. That makes perfect
Right.
sense. That's the way it
Right.
should look.
But you could see, and I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I'm, bragging here, but all of these have been on a DX Commander Rapide. Callum, if you're still here, Aces. And
Is this the new one?
yeah, this is not the new antenna he made. It's the one I bought over Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
It's a 7 meter. 7 meter. No, I don't know. It's a shorter pole.
10.
Anyway.
No.
No, yeah, 7 meters.
Seven.
That's right.
Seven's
It's a
30
7 meter.
feet.
Yeah, it's a 7
21
meter
feet.
pole.
22 feet. Something like that.
So this is with the Flex radio, and a lot of this I've been working during the daytime. So I remote into the Flex and then FT8 the bejeebers out of it during the day when I don't have anything to do at work. So you can see here that 10 meters is doing pretty damn well, because from here, which is me, I'm hitting the bottom of South America, the bottom of Africa, all of Eastern and all of Western Europe, certainly. And then it thins out as I go further east, but all the way down to Australia. And of course, some of these signals may be going east to west. I don't really know. Can we show that? I don't think you really can show that on here, can you?
What are you looking for again?
Well, so these contacts in VK land, did they go this way or did they go the other way?
I think
You
it
mean
would be
long
a
path
best
or short
guess if
path?
it's short path or long path. But if you go into the show options, you can say always show lines, I think it is.
Let's turn off faint monitors. Let's hide monitors
then-
if no reports.
So early in the morning on the West Coast, the big dogs that have the 3 and 4 element,
Yeah,
40
show
40
connecting
meter
lines
Yagis,
always.
They're always beaming long path to Africa. Any stations in Africa, please come now. Show us.
Did you get the show connecting lines always? I think you have to hit go one more time.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
There
that.
you go.
Yeah, you're going short path.
Okay. I also turned off weak signals.
I can't see anything to Australia. Did you get into Australia there?
No Australia.
Yeah.
Because I turned off the weak monitors also, or hide faint monitors.
Can you take off
And
the gray
don't
line?
make too many changes or they'll lock you out.
Oh, really?
They've got a rate limiter.
That's how they get you.
Well, I was doing a stream on how to use PSK Reporter, and I got rate limited in the stream, and I'm like, well, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
There goes the show, folks.
So that's the faint monitors, and if and the lines don't go to them. So these must be stations that I literally connected with.
Yeah, so you can see a signal report coming back from each of them that you've connected with that have a line, and then the other ones just heard you, but you didn't make a contact.
Didn't make a contact with that particular station.
Yeah, so you see the bubble that says, 02 MS or something like that. You can zoom in on one of those. So that station that station officially heard your call sign.
I'm surprised you didn't get it. Oh, you got some pink down there. Well, that's not Africa though. Or that's
Easy there, Chuck. Yeah, this is Africa.
I meant Australia. And so you got some in Australia.
Yeah, though I didn't make any VK contacts.
Okay.
And on 10 meters during the day, VK is not going to be until we're both in the sunlight at the same time, which is going to be problematic.
I haven't tried going long path.
Now, how would I do that on a vertical antenna?
You don't. It's just whatever you get.
You just wait for it to happen.
Yeah, you get what you
Sometimes you can hear an echo,
Right, NRD?
right? I think
Yeah,
you
what
can
you
hear
get.
an echo sometimes if you're getting both. That doesn't happen very often though.
So
Yeah.
my point with showing this anyway is you can look at PSK Reporter, and it will also give you an indication of what the bands are doing. So this is 10 meters, last 12 hours from my call. If we picked someone else's call or we just turned off the call.
Well, don't do that. Instead of doing that, you see where it says sent received by the call sign KN4YCD. Change the call sign to the country of,
Okay, beautiful.
and then you can change it to like Hayden VK7HH, so you can see how 10 meters looks in Australia.
Beautiful. Oh, look at you.
Yeah, this is a pretty neat tool. There you go.
Honey. Yeah, Hayden didn't do too much.
Well, this is contacts made from Australia, not from Hayden. So it's the country of
Hayden
the call sign
specifically.
VK7HH. Or if you were
Gotcha.
trying to, I think you might be able to do instead of just country, you can also do region or something like that in that same drop down. So if you were chasing Hawaii for worked all states on FT8, you could say like the region of or something like that. I
Right.
don't remember what the words are, and then type in a known Hawaii call sign like.
It looks like
WH6HI.
call sign, country of call sign, grid square, or anyone. That's all we're getting. Oh, there we go. Countries. Show countries received by. Yeah, that's kind of just flipping the script.
So, Jason, they should be sleeping in Ozland right now, but you know how hams are. The older
So now
you
if
get,
we
the less you
change-
sleep.
If we change our band, and then we redisplay.
Oh, look at
Lester
that.
wants to know what website this is. This is pskreporter.info. Pskreporter.info. You can see it in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and this is a fantastic site. Go into your WSJTX software, go into your settings, go over to the reporting tab, and then there is a thing to upload spots to PSK Reporter. And then you can just leave your radio and your computer on. You don't need to make any contacts. You just need to be tuned into an FT8 frequency and decoding signals, and you'll be uploading all of your decodes as spots
right.
to the website.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you make a
that's why-
contact, it gets magical.
Yep.
Magical.
And every time any of yous guys are playing FT8, please make sure that's turned on. because it helps everybody.
Very
right?
helpful. This is actually one of the things that I like about FT8 is I'll go out and I'll build an antenna, or I'll set up a radio, or I'll configure something new in the shack, and I'll just turn on FT8 and make some contacts, and then poof, I've got this map that shows me, yes, this horizontal dipole is better than this off-center fed dipole, is better than this vertical dipole, or whatever. And so there's kind of this instant gratification. You can do the same thing with Whisper. I just do FT8 because I do FT8.
Right. I FT8. Do you even FT8 Pro?
Bro.
And one thing here on this chart, and I changed this to 20 meters with the same parameters for Australia. If you look on the U.S. side at the lines, you'll see that we're hitting VK land on 20 meters, even when we're in daylight and they're in on the night side. I like saying night side and day side. It sounds spacey.
Yes, Liberty. JS8 call too. Awesome.
Yeah, JS8 call, any of those. Because of the frequency that we're on as opposed to the 10-meter band, which is up at 28 megahertz, 20 meters is down at 14. Lower frequency because of that ionization in the E and F layers in the ionosphere. That is the difference between why 10 meters don't work at night very well versus... And that chart, the MUF chart, is based on a 3,000 kilometer distance. So they don't base that on, I can talk to Joe Brett on 10 meters and we're going to call the MUF 28 for the southeast. They're basing that on a 3,000 kilometer connection, I guess is the word. I don't know the right word there. So it's not exact. It's not like a line drawn with a protractor or anything. It's this area, that area kind of thing. But also, it's also dependent on frequency, which is my point with this. So there are a number of solar weather sites around. I mean, they are legion. If you type in ham solar weather in the Goog, you will find an endless plethora of sites. This one on DX Zone is basically a list of links, and you can kind of go down some rat holes with this. Calculation of the maximum usable frequency. You click this and it shows how they're calculating it and what the indicators are for propagation and the MUF, that kind of thing. Current optimal frequency charts by region, updated monthly. I haven't looked at all these. I don't know how good some of these are. My point here is there's a ton of resources for solar weather. And again, for me, and Steve has thrown out a great idea with the FT8 thing, but for me, I just look at the MUF every day and go, okay.
Every day.
I look at the MUF every day. Don't be jealous. Just saying.
Every day I'm MUF spotting.
Right. There are solarham.net is another site. And again, these have so much data on them. And it's just an overload to me, an absolute overload of information. Plus which, I'm not judging, some of these sites look like somebody just got front page and wanted to get their GeoCities site turned on.
This one's not bad compared to the amount of information it's trying to produce for you. This one's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, this is not bad. This is actually not bad. So
the one number that stands out to me on this page is the SFI is at 343. And about 5 years ago, we were celebrating an SFI of like 100. And 343 is just like magical. And we haven't even reached the peak of the solar cycle yet. So the higher the SFI, the more likely you are to make lots and lots of contacts.
Oh, excellent. Okay, see, that was what I was fixing to say. That's Alabama. That's what I was about to say. I don't understand all these indices. No. And there are a ton of them, right? Now this one I do understand here, the current solar flare threat. So we are running a 95% chance of a C flare, 50% of an M, 15 of an X, and 15% of a proton level flare. And then what the
C
level
flares
of those,
at 95%.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume that a C level flare is pretty much a very, very, very minor flare with almost no impact.
So with the
Here-
right tools, you can actually understand this stuff, sort of.
Yeah. And this is also one of those things where if you listen to Dr. Scove and her presentation on Ham Nation on Wednesdays, if you listen to it every single Wednesday, it's a short little burst of information, it'll start to make a little bit more sense through repetition and osmosis and that kind of thing.
Right.
Got to be in it to win it.
And
To
all
win
of
it.
these things are frequency dependent, as we mentioned, right? So what affects 10 meters positively may have no effect on 40 meters because of the difference in frequencies. The wavelength on 40 meters is a lot longer than the wavelength on 10 meters. 4 times longer. So anyway, Solar Ham, a number of pieces of information, lots of graphics, solar videos, and these are really fascinating to watch. Some of these things.
It's pretty.
Right now, there are currently no large coronal holes facing the Earth, which means there
I
are
don't
no
see any.
CMEs that are potentially going to be ejected toward us. Coronal mass ejection. That's when the sun squirts goo at us.
Ew.
Sun goo. Solar goo.
Ew.
So there's just a ton of information on this and all sorts of charts to get a feel for what's gonna happen. A lot of these sites also have auroras and alerts for solar flares, for geomagnetic storms, and so on and so forth. So here's a Type 2 radio emission. This one began at 1957 on the 17th, 1957 UTC, which is like 1400 Central Time.
Right,
An
Jason.
estimated velocity of 2,407 kilometers per second.
Oh, NRD just got you, Jim.
What?
In the comments.
do-
I can't repeat it.
Really,
It's
buddy?
that good.
Ouch.
It's that good.
Dang.
Oh, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too. So, 2,407 kilometers a second. Let's see, there are 600 miles to 1,000 kilometers. So that's 1,200, 1,400 miles per second. And the sun is 93 million miles away, so
It's pretty fast.
it's scooching. It's going right along. Mm-hmm.
Almost as fast as my motorhome.
Right, almost as fast as NRD's mom. Just saying.
There you go. There you go.
I thought that was almost
burn.
as easy.
And he
I
froze.
thought that was
Or I
almost
froze.
as easy as her.
That too.
She's
So-
fast and easy. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. Just helping you out.
So they will tell
Since
you.
NRD started it.
Right.
Yes, right.
Normally, yeah.
Normally we'd
So
be
they'll
all
tell you-
respectable like, but no. NRD brought it.
Yeah.
Right. You brought it. Went
Guns
there.
a flare.
Went there. So it'll tell you all the upcoming storms, anything predicted, anything that has happened on the sun, and generally what the impact level is going to be on that one. That's Solar Ham. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration also has
NOAA.
extensive solar weather
NOAA.
information. And this particular page,
Look at that
Steve,
picture.
if you would. Well, actually, I guess I can copy it and post it in the chat better than you can.
Since you have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you
'cause I
copy
have
and paste
You're-
it to me, and then I'll copy it and paste it
And
from
you're
you
looking
to
at a
the
picture
chat.
of it, right? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't even see the URL. You're being all sneaky.
Right.
Oh, it's Swipsy. Swipsy.noaa.gov.
So this is specifically space weather conditions for HF radio communications. And it will tell you how it affects it, what's going on. This gives you the capsule definition of a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about here in the last hour or so. Several types of space weather that can impact HF radio. The impacts are first felt during the solar flare itself, then the X-rays penetrate to the bottom of the ionosphere.
Are you talking about penetrating and spurting goo and muff? What kind of show is this, Jim?
And this is what I was talking about earlier. These are X-ray. These are X-rays, so it's ionizing radiation, and they ionize the atmosphere to create an enhancement of the D layer. This acts as both a reflector of radio waves at some frequencies and an absorber of radio waves at other frequencies. So any radio blackouts associated with solar flares occur on the day side and are most intense where the sun is directly overhead. Another
So
type
Craig
of
made a
space
real
weather
quick
is a radiation
comment
storm.
here, Jim.
Sir?
I said Craig made a real quick comment here that I think we should draw some attention to, and I got to get out of full screen mode to show it. He said that he wasn't aware that there was space weather, and if you are of a certain age now where you are heading into a career, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is my personal thought, is that space weather is going to be very important the more space travel we do, and we are slotted to do a lot of space travel coming up. So there's a
and not just the space travel itself, although that is a huge factor, but we are dependent. Civilization is critically dependent on global satellite communications on a regular basis that operate at extremely above the SHF band, right? KU band, C band, K band satellites all are up in the gigahertz range, if I remember correctly. But that's why solar weather is always, you're going to end up working for NASA or somebody like that. This is an awesome field to be in.
right.
Because this can cook a multi-million-dollar satellite. If we have a significant CME and your $10 million comm satellite is in the way, oops. Crispy
Better get the
critter.
afterburners going, man.
Right. Turbos. Up, down, AA plus, B plus, up, down. Hurry up.
Batteries to power, turbines to speed.
Right, Batman. So anyway, the NOAA page has a good explanation. It also has some indices up here that are currently showing none, and it will tell you what they are, and so on and so forth. And then there's, like I said, there's any number of web pages. If you just that's all I've really got. If you just Google solar ham weather or something similar to that,
It's always got
you can find a ton of information on this.
a ton.
Shit tons even. Just saying.
That was pretty good, Jim. You did a good job with that. You actually got the screens where I could even see them on my little iPad.
Oh, yes.
And there was a couple of
Sort
times
of.
there where you said stuff that I have no idea if you were right or not, but you sounded really right.
You're kind of like 8 there.
Man, I got it off the internet. You best believe it. It must be true.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Slept at a Holiday Inn last night, ate at a Waffle House this morning. We're good to go.
What did you have at the Waffle House this morning, anyhow?
I didn't eat at the Waffle House.
Oh,
You went out to the post
usually
office
do.
and didn't stop by the Waffle House?
I know. What the heck?
No, I did not. I came back and I cooked grits in the instant pot,
Ugh.
stone ground grits in the instant pot, and bacon in the air fryer. So
Okay. Bacon's good.
You might as well
grits
just get
are
rid of your
inoffensive,
oven.
Charles. You just put cheese in them and then they taste like something.
Oh, you just have to put something
Butter.
in them.
Butter.
I've had grits.
Listen,
Lots
man,
and
I'm
lots
from
of
the
butter.
north. We don't do grits. Well, actually, we do farina, which is like cream of wheat, which is wheat grit instead of
Oh, I
corn
like
grit.
cream of wheat.
Up north, we
That's
call
nasty.
it farina.
Yeah, farina. I don't know. It sounds like a dirty word anyway, but yeah, I hated that crap too. But I got down here and these people all eat grits, and I keep marrying women that don't want to move north, so I've learned to like grits. And like I said,
Hey,
you
Jim,
put
Don
cheese
in the
and
comments
pepper
is
in
giving you compliments.
What?
Oh, it's a different Don.
Different Don.
A different Don.
You had me there, man.
I was gonna say it ain't N5 SKT.
No.
Yeah, Dennis, grits and bacon, son. That's aces, man. Xmas mommy is butter and sugar. That's
I
not
haven't tried
me.
sugar and grits.
Well, see, I grew up eating oatmeal, and I put butter and brown sugar in oatmeal.
Yeah.
Some
That's
honey
awesome.
sometimes.
I hate honey.
Brown sugar and cinnamon in
I
oatmeal.
hate you, honey.
And see, Joe Brett likes grits. You know he does. He's a Southern boy,
Don says he's the good Don.
the good Don.
Yeah.
Brown
Well, one of the good Dons.
So, yes, Anthony, that's exactly right. N1UL is on FT8 all the time. I've got him in the log probably a billion times. That's Dr. Rode from
Rode and
and
Schwartz.
Schwartz.
Nice.
Yeah.
I forgot my little laptops for that.
You know, if he's
Someone
an
else is way
FT8er, maybe
smarter
we
than
could
me.
reach out to him and have him on the show one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe he would hook us up with,
Sponsored equipment, that'd be nice.
RNS oscilloscopes. That'd be great. I'll take
Okay.
Chuck's. He doesn't need it. He'll electrocute himself.
I'd rather
I'll
have a
take
station
one.
monitor.
I've actually used oscilloscopes probably
you?
before you ever did, but
Before
for
he
different
was
reasons.
born, so
Oh, I doubt it, Pumpkin.
Well, not before you were born. I think you're pretty old.
You're only 3 years older than I am.
That's
I mean,
what I'm
I
saying.
look way younger, but I'm
Look at you're all pale. Don't you
That's
ever
the
get
light.
out of
You
the
ain't seen
sun?
the
studio
sun.
lighting. It's the studio
Yeah.
lighting.
It is your studio, Jim. You could pick different color temperatures.
Yes.
Yeah, I got the cheap lights from Amazon that don't do that.
I'm getting the reflection off of
Morning.
the snow out there.
Yeah, that's how you get your sun, right?
Yeah, the only
Off the
way
snow.
from the bottom up.
I'll go outside of my house and be working on something and come in the house. It's like, oh, I can't. It's
Can't
like
see.
snow blind. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
see anything.
Joe Brett said he learned to love grits at the academy. You didn't grow up eating grits? You're from Mississippi.
Was that the
Joe.
Girl Scout Academy? Or where was he?
Right.
Oh,
right.
wow, Chuck.
What?
Shots fired.
He says Academy. What academy was he at, man?
Would be Police Academy. I
Oh,
don't know
the
if it was
police,
1,
that's
2,
right.
3, or 4, but one of them.
So there was Girl Scouts there too. I'm sure.
Dennis, you're right. Chuck is in fuego. All
I'm
right.
like not really here, but I am.
Well, guys, I think that's about all I really have to share with everybody. Enjoy Solar Cycle 25 because we're just building up to maximum awesomeness.
Maximum
Seriously, in the last couple weeks, man, 10 meters. I've just been doing a ton of 10-meter FT8 and 20 meters for me.
Hey,
and
you did phone. That surprised me.
I do phone. I just don't. I don't want to rag you. I'm not going to get on the radio and CQ and randomly talk to people. If
I
you're
have some
doing
friends
a
I
co-
ragged you with. It's
yeah,
fun.
I don't.
But
I
we
don't
talk
care.
about ham radio.
I got
actually-
you guys for that.
Yeah,
I
one
talk
of the
with
guys.
105, 110 of my closest friends 2 or 3 times a week.
One of my buddies likes it that when I go out and do stuff like in the Sierra, go out in the mountains and stuff, and he's always, what antenna did you take, And usually I'll make contact with him and the rest of the guys there, because if I do a POTA, I'm assured of getting 2 or 3 contacts right there, just going on 40 and talking to those guys. I can almost always hit them, so I always hit them up. But yes, ooh, what's a knock?
Whoa, that is a kroner.
Norwegian kroner. Thank you, Morton.
I don't
you,
know
Morton.
what that is in American money, but thank you, Morton.
Mark.
Morton is awesome for a Swede. Same.
My massive 6 watts of power.
He needs some milk.
So if you're in the upper Midwest area, Anthony and I are going to try to operate the Kilo Foxtrot 8 Zulu Foxtrot repeater, which is 5294 on 6 meters with an uplink of 5244. Oh, there's an uplink tone. I got to figure out how to do tones now. I'm using my FT818, so I'm going to be rocking a massive 6 watts on this thing.
Ooh, be careful around
Which
that.
one are you doing now?
KF8ZF, Kilo Fox 8.
6 meter?
Zulu Fox, 6 meters.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
I won't hear you.
You're too far away. Yeah.
But when you
Now,
do the CB
what kind of distance?
thing,
Isn't there? I don't know anything about 6 meters at all. So
Well-
distance-wise, it should carry. Is it only repeater kind of traffic on 6 meters? Or
Now you can do sideband FT8, regular
Sideband on
simplex.
sideband.
Oh,
combined.
yeah, I guess so because I've made a few 6
I can
meters.
do like
FT8s.
200 miles roughly that I know of on sideband most days. Just going by, popping into the bozo net. That's about 180, almost 190 miles for me. I don't hear a lot of different people though, which is weird because unfortunately, when you're doing those nets for bozo, you're using a directional antenna, so you're not picking up everybody. Just whoever happens to be aimed at you, usually.
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing.
There's
50. So
There's
50's not showing up on the muff at all anywhere.
yeah, it's not usually very good.
Okay.
I mean, it'll work, but you're talking like 2 meter, maybe a little better than 2 meter at times.
Okay. Okay.
Or as
So more
as good.
invis than anything else.
Well, more line of sight probably
Yeah.
most of the time, unless there's an opening, and then it's like 50 watts will get you across the country easy with a decent antenna.
Well, that's going to depend on that ionization in the ionosphere too.
Dennis wants to know about your muff map. Show us your muff again, Jim.
Show us.
And then he wants to know if yellow is good.
Yellow
Is
is
yellow good?
bueno, Dennis. Very good. That's the way they do on this map. So right now,
Can you make that bigger?
No, the picture.
No, we
Actually,
can't.
I probably can.
Actually, I can. Hang on.
Give me a
second.
the old pinch.
I
check.
did it. Never mind. I did the pinch.
I can. Just stand by. I control the horizontal here and the vertical. But I got
What are the now, what do the numbers mean?
That's the maximum usable frequency
So the higher the number, the better, right? Oh, the highest
in
frequency.
megahertz. That's in megahertz.
So 10 meter for me, roughly right now.
Yep.
I'm
Let me
actually in
stop.
that, pretty close to that 28 there. Ooh, sorry.
Let me
Hold
stop
on.
sharing this tab and share this screen.
back.
And I will have a bigger picture of my muff.
I'm not sure I'd totally buy that.
I don't want to see your muff any bigger than it already is, Jim.
Or his mom's. What's that? Ooh, it's no bigger. I don't think.
It's the whole
Can't
damn
show
screen
no
now,
bigger.
Chuck.
Yeah, but your screen resolution's high.
My God, you people complain a lot, don't you?
So you have to understand, we're all watching on a 1080p screen, and you're sharing a 4K screen,
Well,
and we're watching
all
in
right.
a window on a 1080p screen.
You're watching an entire monitor on a.
No. Your monitor is in a window on my monitor, and my monitor is 15 inches because it's my laptop screen. This is where like, understanding your audience comes into play.
Okay. So,
Marvin wants to know what 6 meter frequency. It's 5294 with an offset of -500 and an uplink tone of 94.8. It is the KF8ZF.
I don't have anything here, actually.
then we'll just 86 that whole thing. And I will paste in the link
There you go.
for the muff page because it's probably easier for y'all to see it yourself.
It was fine. I just blew it up on mine. I did like T.O. said. I pinched it.
And I'm I'm copying and pasting that link in the chat right now. And there is the muff, and this updates, like I said, multiple times. Yeah, only put one F in muff. That is correct, Jason. Important safety tip from Uncle Jason. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Serious
And
stuff.
don't do an image search. Don't type muff pictures. That's a bad thing. Especially if your mom's around. So the muff chart will show you where you are. So Dennis, you're just now getting lit up to 10 meters. Down there in SoCo.
He's NorCal.
I don't know. Y'all are all alike to me. North, south, whatever. Y'all live in Oakland, I think, and Josh lives in L.A. I actually thought he was in Southern California.
Who?
Dennis.
Oh, Dennis. No, he's actually more north than me
Oh, okay.
by an hour.
So, yeah, it looks like northern, probably mid-California.
So Josh is in a suburb of Compton. Is that what you're saying?
Josh is in East L.A., I
Right.
think, or something like that. I don't know.
East Los.
Well, if I'm Oakland, he must be Compton.
Right.
Like Jim doesn't know what Compton is.
I do. Like, hell, he could be in Inglewood for all I know.
That's where they did
West Side,
that
Inglewood.
basketball story, about
Right.
he went down to Compton to hustle people.
So pull up the muff, take a look at it, get a figure, get a good look at what you got available to you. And for the United States, it basically goes up in frequency available as you move east, it'll be higher frequencies available with tailing off in the west. So East Coast is going to open up 10 meters, for example, and Charles will be shutting down 10 meters when I'm probably in bed.
Who was the kid we had on Thursday? I was
Case.
telling the guys I got Case in it, and I remember his name now. And then I remember him telling me, because I think he was on that one that contest station that had the 4 stack 10 meter antennas.
Yeah, 4/4/4.
Yeah, he was pretty strong.
Right. All right, fellas. I think that is going to close us out for today.
Yeah.
I don't have. I've got a couple videos coming up on.
I'm sure I've got something coming up.
A radio that I may or may not have been coveting and touch a lot lately.
Oh, right. Actually, I got to do one. I got to do some videos on mine too, but I have my antenna coming out. My new, almost with hex beam. I rebuilt my hex beam. It's from the ground. Well, from the base plate up, I should say. And it's complete now. I broke it. I fixed it, and it should be in the air next week if I have time. Although I think I'm gonna be working on the air a lot next week.
I don't know what does the hex beam do for you. I mean, hex. I'm going to go with 6 sides.
It has 6 sides.
6 bands.
But it has 6 bands. Yes. It has 6, 10, 12, 15, 17, and 20. And I have all the bands cut now. I haven't tested them yet. I was trying to test them in my house, but I have too much. I can't get it away from stuff, and my readings weren't good. And I don't want to cut wires before I actually get it out in the open someplace.
Right.
Because when I did 6, because 6 was nice and small, it was fine. But it's I could probably put it up in 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Now, is there any way for you to get 40 on this, or you'd have to cut a stupid long wire? Could you use a coil and squeeze 40 out of it somewhere?
You know, I might try. You remember my little project that Ape and I were working on with the. Yeah, I might do something like that and see if I can get 40. It'll be a lot of ciphering.
Okay.
Maybe Ape can help me with that. And but I don't have the link, but I could.
That's what she said.
I could put extra pieces on there to get it higher. The problem is 40's like twice the size of 20. So.
You know what's interesting, and I'm sure I'm going to get some grief for this. So on my DX Commander Classic, it doesn't support officially 80, but I'll be darned if I don't get 80 meter FT8 on that thing pretty darn good at night.
I'm
using a tuner. I'm using a tuner.
Just do a inverted L, man. It works fine. I've done it before.
I could. I don't want to.
Okay.
But
you're saying you don't get 80. I mean, you can get 80
officially, the antenna does not do 80, but I can tune it into submission on 80 because I have a MFJ 993 tuner on the 7610 here.
I built my original one, and it was actually on a 12 meter pole. So 40.
Hey, Larry, good morning.
It was long enough for 40. And then I did an inverted L off of it for 80, and it worked really well. Actually, I used to get on 80 early in the mornings, and it was kind of cool because I could go between that and my doublet, and whichever one I could hear the guy better on, I would just switch back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have multiple antennas on the same band.
I bought a Rolly coil for my DX Commander, and I played with installing it one time, and then the weather was not where I felt like being out in the
sun was
rain
out
and wet.
No,
it was raining a lot, dingus.
Oh, yeah. I've been there lately.
Yeah. And I've never finished pursuing it. You have to lose 40, and then you put on the Rolly coil in place of 40, and it's got a couple of tuning spots for the lower end of the band down in the CW FT8 end.
You just need to put a switch in so you can switch it back and forth.
Right. I know. And that's probably going to happen at some point, a remote antenna switch. Because I have coax ran out there, and I don't really want to have to run another coax. So I'd like to just set it up so I can remote switch it.
Or you could just put an inverted L and you don't have to worry about it. It's not hard.
I could. Dennis said we need a car hex.
Oh, it's coming, baby.
It's coming, buddy.
Uh-oh.
We need the Chucky hex.
We've made an announcement.
It's coming. I don't know. I gotta refine
that
some stuff.
It's currently under developmental testing and evaluation, Dennis.
That's right.
And sometime before we all
In
die,
fact,
it will be released.
Dennis and I should get ahead and we should actually go up to Big Hill. I could pick him up on the way, or he could drive up and meet me there. And we could set it up.
Right.
Two
Steve,
people
you
could
got
probably
anything
set it up in
interesting coming
15.
I got lots of interesting stuff coming up.
We got anything you want to talk about?
I am working on NFT 818 right now, and I'm trying to get it to talk with the Zygu XPA 125 amp, among many other fun projects with that radio. I've got a tuner to repair, and I'm in the middle of working on an ADSB Go box. So I'm trying to figure out which video I'm going to release today.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got 2 videos partially finished, and I need to just reshoot the whole thing anyway, which I'm going to be working on probably to release on Monday and Wednesday of next week. Or both of them tomorrow. I don't know. It just depends on my fancy. All right, guys, I'm hitting the button. Y'all, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Always check your muff.